Hey everybody, I'm going to be going live here in about 2 minutes with one of my besties from college, Emily Kratz, the Emily Kratz. She's got quite the story and background. She's a cool cat. But I just wanted to get on here quick before we started and tell you, I'll introduce her, but basically she's like my best friend from college. She stood up at my wedding. Man, we've been through a lot together. She's a really awesome person, and she has done crazy things like world champion Ironmans, triathlons, ride to recoveries in different countries. She's led ride to recoveries. She did something for the Navy SEALs. She ran across the Sahara Desert. No biggie. It's just a backpack on her back in a race. But I'm going to ask her about that so she can tell you all about that. But she's also she's been a corporate wellness director. And I'm just going to wait for her to come on. She's never late, so she's probably already like logging on right now, unlike me. But she is in the wellness industry as a corporate wellness director, but also her feats she has done are crazy. So if you're popping in and you want to hear her story, I don't know how long we're going to go, because when we talk, we're kind of like college girls again. Sorry. I'll try to keep it professional. But if you're popping in, tell me what the wind is like by you. Holy moly. It is so crazy here. We're in a wind advisory. I heard gusts of over 50 miles per hour when I was picking up my daughter in my little Prius. I literally thought it was going to flip over, just parked there. Like, I kind of got concerned. Has this ever happened? Like, it's not a tornado, but like with huge gusts of wind, because, Priuses haven't been around that long. They're really small and lightweight. I don't know. Don't worry, I didn't, but I've never felt like that in a car just parked. So anyway, Emily, whenever you come on, well, I should be able to see her. She should request and come on. Can you hear that? It's like storm wind, like severe storm wind, but yet it's not. It's pretty sunny out. I did hear we're supposed to be getting quite the snow, or they say. We shall see. Hey, Sania. Is it Sania? Sanaya? I don't even know how to say your name. Emily Kratz, you're here. Okay. So, Emily, request to join live. Like, click on my live and request to join it. I added you to join, but sometimes Facebook sucks. Slight breeze and 80. It is like 55-degree wind gusts here, Sam. You can tell Sara she's missing out. Just kidding. Senia. Okay, got it. Thanks for letting me know. Now I'll say it right. Okay, so Emily, just you're like a professional at everything in life, so this should be easy for you. Just say, I want to join Sara's live, and then it should show up, and then I'll say, okay, and then I'll let you in. No, I don't think so. There's really nothing ever to miss in this state, really. Okay, Emily, are you getting it? Type in the chat if you don't know. Wait, sent. So yeah, I invited you. Okay, go to my page, and then when you see my profile, there's like a red circle around it. It says I'm live. Click on it, and then it should ask you request to join, and then click request to join. You got this, Emily. I know you can do this. Crystal, tell Emily how to join live. She's having a hard time. I did invite her, but I don't think she's seeing that. I told her what to do, but because I'm on my phone this way, text her and tell her how to go live. And don't even tell me you don't know how. Crystal. Crystal, do you want to come on the video too? I can bring you on. Yeah, help her out. Should I bring you on too? We can have a trio. Don't worry, Crystal, you're next. I'm going to have you on next because you have been crushing life too the last couple of years. I know. Seriously, if you want to come on, we can do a trio. I will bring you on. Emily, let's see. Grab a drink, everybody. Coffee, tea, mojo. Crystal, you're a professional at this. Tell her how to do this. I don't have that option, girl. Okay, hold on. Well, let's figure this out. Wait, Emily, are you on your phone? You gotta do it from your phone. Because Facebook's weird that way. So if you're on your laptop, like some people can do it on their laptop, I can't. Most people can't. So just switch to your phone. Don't worry, I can play music. What do you guys want to listen to? You know what song I love right now? I'm going to show you. I heard it on this show called No One Wants This. It's a new show on Netflix. I kind of liked it, season 1. Fine, she's gonna try on her phone. Yeah, gosh. I don't know what this is. Ooh, sorry. Nasty Who That by Migos, and it's not even what it's trying to play. Oh, here she is. Okay. Wait, do that again. Emily, oh wait, here we go. Oh wait, okay. I'm gonna send you an invite, Emily. Try it again. It says you're adding. Yes!
Oh
look at us. We're both in our black glasses.
So ridiculous.
I know.
Sorry, I work in tech. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Look how cute you are.
I'm literally so cute right now.
I know.
Just kidding.
Do you have lots of wind by you right now? We're like in a windstorm.
Yeah, I'm over it. And it's cold. It's such cold wind too.
I know. I'm over it.
Warm.
Okay. So yeah, success. Okay, Emily. So well, first of all, how was your day?
My day was good. It was like busy. I had 22 meetings today at least. So I just finished.
That's like at 4. That's a lot. Good for you.
It's
so proud of you.
I have to keep corporate America up and running.
I know.
You know, but
I know. So I was going to ask you, are you still doing, what is it? GitHub?
What are you doing? Yeah.
What is it? What's it called again?
GitHub.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, first of all, everybody, because we don't want to take any more of your precious time, even though you're going to love this. You're going to love it so much. You're going to
talk all
I know. And you guys are going to be like, no, don't go.
Yeah, please.
But,
okay.
But Emily has things to do. So Emily is my dear friend from college. We met, I was thinking about this last night. I was going to take a shower.
It's a common thing. Most people think of me when they hop in the shower. So that's cool.
I know. Oops, that sounded really weird. But anyway, 27 years, Emily. 27 years. Yeah. I mean, if you do that
longer than I haven't done. If we do math, like algebra.
I know. But I'm thinking like we graduated in 97. We started fall of 97. So right now it's like we're thinking it's the spring of 28. Oh my God, 28 years. You're right. Wow.
Happy anniversary.
And we still look just as good and young.
Look so good.
Yeah. But you've accomplished a lot more.
We look better, actually.
Yeah. And you've accomplished a lot more. But so Emily is just, oh my goodness, we have so many good memories. Two short years of our life. And we still just, we don't see each other very often. We don't even get to talk that often, but there's always this connection, you know? Me, you, see. But anyway, so basically I wanted to bring you on.
Oops, you fell off.
Okay. It's okay.
I'm trying to hold you up. Okay.
I wanted to bring you on because you are like, when I think of health and wellness and like all things like that, I think of you.
Oh.
And so I took this from your LinkedIn. I don't know how updated this is, but this is what she's got going on. Her specialties, she's a CHES certified health education specialist. She's a certified intrinsic coach. She is a Milwaukee Business Journal 40 Under 40 award winner, multiple Ironman World Championships finisher, ultra endurance competitive athlete, 6-time, is it more than 6? Is this updated?
No, it's more, but it wouldn't matter.
What is it now? Like 9, 10? Okay, many USA Triathlon All-American. She's volunteered for several organizations. She's ran across the Sahara Desert. Like, I'm just gonna let her take it away, but I'm gonna ask her questions. But Emily, you're amazing, and I want you to just tell us, first of all, what you got your degree and what you're doing with your life. You don't have to like go through everything you've done, but like what you graduated in, what you've been doing when it comes to your career.
Okay. So when I was at Bethany, actually, with you, Sarah, where we met, I had no idea what I wanted to do or be. And after my freshman year, I tore my ACL. Do you remember that?
I totally remember that.
Oh, that was
I totally glad you brought it up.
But then I had to go through like physical therapy, and that was like the first time I think in my life that I felt what it was like not to be completely active or have the ability to be active. Mm-hmm. And that was really like kind of a turning point for me relative to kind of how I wanted to spend more of my time. Yep. So I went and got my undergrad in exercise and sports science, and then my master's degree is in community health education. So I started off in corporate wellness and really consulted companies basically all over the country on their worksite health promotion programs. And then I worked for an actual vendor who had, that was more in the tech space then. Okay. I transitioned to that and worked for a company called Limeade. And they basically have an app that encouraged people to be active and healthy, but more than that, of like overall well-being, which I really am a firm believer in, more of the holistic approach when looking at mental and emotional, and the physical piece is just a part of it. So I was there for 8 years. And then I made a kind of a crazy transition over to GitHub. So I don't do anything in the wellness space anymore. I actually work for a full-blown tech company. Mm-hmm. It's owned by Microsoft. Mm-hmm. But it's more, I took it more as an opportunity to increase my, I don't know, business savvy, I guess. It's a lot more on the business side of things. And I work on the revenue team and just really help that whole team solve problems. Yep. And so that's what I do. But it really allows me also to kind of have the balance in my life, because as you kind of alluded to, I like to do a lot of these other physical things and focus on my own personal well-being and hopefully helping others. Uh-huh. But it frees me up to be able to do that in my spare time. So I don't know if I'll do it forever, but for now, it's good.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, ever since I've known you past college, for sure, like when you say you're going to get something done, you get it done. And you like set these challenges for yourself and you do them, and you're like the epitome of like what every wellness guru and like podcaster out there, talk about, when it's like shutting your feelings off, shutting your emotions off, getting in the habit of doing things, because then when the times are hard, you're not making your decisions based on your feelings. Yeah. And so I've always, and I know Crystal's on here too, maybe she's not anymore, but whatever. Like, we've always just been so in awe by that. Like, you've been through your trials, you've been through hard stuff, and it was like a coping mechanism, but also just do it. And so like all these people that say, do this, you the Ed Milets and the stuff that tell you to do it, you're actually somebody that actually does it. Like you actually walk the walk. Yeah. You just don't talk it. And so, I remember when you tore your ACL. And I remember like that was our era of like, let's like binge on some junky food and then go work out for 4 hours, you know? But then, you know, we started shifting, and especially after you graduated Bethany and you got into exercise science. But I do remember how much, and that is always the catalyst in my head of like, when I think of why you got into what you did, it was that.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like, oh no, this is not going to take me down.
Yeah.
And then you came back stronger. So that's like shifting into more of the wellness. So what was your first, if you remember, what was your first race you ever did?
In the endurance phase?
I mean, like anything past, you know, not like a high school 5K, but like, you know, like your first endurance race.
Yeah, it was actually right after my divorce, and we can get into that whole situation because that's a really big part of so much of my story. I did this random marathon, and because I was kind of running a lot more when I was still living in my, came home and ran a marathon, and I heard about like the Boston Marathon. I never even heard of the Boston. So then I was trained. So I ran a Milwaukee Marathon. I didn't know how to qualify. I just knew you had to run as fast. Mm-hmm. So I was just running as fast as I could. Because I don't know. Like, it was so clueless. It was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I ended up getting like, I think I was in the top 10. But it was because of, I mean, it was I guess I've been given God-given talent to run, but also just a sheer desire and grit to want to go to the Boston Marathon without knowing exactly how to go about and do that. Right. So that was my first, that's really it started with marathon.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of was the catapult into so many more things.
Yeah. And because you brought up divorce, I'm like, great, let's touch on that because that is one of the major, huge things you've endured in your life and dealt with. And it's one of the things that, like, I don't have the best memory in life, but there's things that I remember very well. And I remember when that happened because I remember you called me. Sawyer was just a baby. I get this phone call like super late at night, or maybe it was like kind of even.
I think I called you that night.
I know.
And I just did. I think I went in the basement.
Yeah.
and you watching calling you. Yeah.
Like you just kind of were like in this absolute, I don't know what to do. And you know, the phone rings. I'm like, what's going on? You know, like if anything ever rings past midnight, you always know it's probably not something great. And you just were crying and you explained all this to me. And I know I was in like disbelief, you know, because I was in your wedding. We were in each other's weddings and I knew him too. And so why don't you take that story and then, you know, share how, you know, even like you were really into the wellness space even before that happened, but then like how like everything kind of shifted after, you know, why you were doing what you were doing, the benefits of it, what pushed you, what drove you, the healing process, whatever you want to share.
Yeah. I think like just to give background for the thousands of people that'll be listening to this, like, I found out that my husband was cheating on me the entire time from the time we started dating till the time I found out. So that's kind of what happened. Just to clear that, it wasn't like we were fighting a lot and decided not to be together. It was a little bit more traumatic for me than that. Anyway, after that, I think, you know, it was shocking for me too. So I don't even remember like a few months after that, but how I really turned to how I got into the marathons and the Ironman after that, I wouldn't say it came from a healthy place. Mm-hmm. I think, and I'm looking back at it, it was the coping helped, but it was because it was so new and traumatic for me. I used that thinking if I did all of these things, I would be worthwhile to somebody, or I would be like, you know, my personal self-worth would be more noticeable because so much at that point for me was I wasn't good enough, which I think is probably common if you're cheated on, right? Like, how was I not good enough? So you think about all these things that you can do to prove that wrong in your own mind, right? It has nothing to do with that. Obviously, looking back now, it's all of his decisions and his issues and things. It had nothing to do with me. I am worthy as I am standing still. But at the time, I didn't believe that. So I got into it from probably a really unhealthy place. And I learned a lot through that. And it took me years before I got out of that space, because what I realized was the goalpost always changed, right? So I'm like, oh, if I do an Ironman, oh, that'll be enough. And then I'll have personal worth. And then I did it. And then, oh, now I didn't feel any different. In fact, I felt worse. So now I have to go win one. And then and then I did that. And now I need to go get my pro card. And then I did that. And it was never good enough to actually fill the hole that can't be filled through accomplishing anything, right? Like it's not dependent on accomplishments. It's not dependent on anything you do, because you already provide value just being, right? Because I'm a child of God and my faith is really important to me. And so that is the truth. And that wasn't in forefront for me, because it just took a while, right? And I have to give myself, and I think we all need to give ourselves grace throughout that growing pattern, right?
Yep.
But I eventually kind of navigated my way through it. And it's not like I don't deal with those feelings sometimes now still. I think it's something, as women, it's really easy to think about and think through, and maybe top of mind more for others. I'm always working on, but I think the intention behind anything I do now it's much more clear relative to the why. And when I got into things at first, I don't think the why was very healthy. And I think that's really shifted for me now, and really discovering my why of what am I personally capable of? How much do I want to push myself? And if I decide one day not to anymore, that's okay, because I'm still provide value by not doing that. And it really just kind of takes the pressure off a little bit. Yep. And having that strong why is just so important, I think, with any behavior change that you do, because if that's not strong, it's not going to, and if it's not clear and coming from a healthy place, I don't know how, long-standing it can actually be for you and for anybody. So that was quite a journey, and my endurance stuff has shifted with time. I mean, I've gone from the Ironman to now more of the ultra stuff, to more of multi-day stuff. And I love the new places I see and the people I meet along the way and the experiences I have. And sure, I win sometimes, but that's not the priority for me. I work hard to be able to do it, and then I get to go have fun and experience it and enjoy it more, because I'm fit enough to be able to go do it. Yeah. So that's, sometimes it works out great. Other times it's never bad though, because even if I don't win, it's like I win because I get to go and have the opportunity and the ability to be able to do it. And I know a lot of people don't have that sometimes. So I'm very privileged that way, and really blessed to be able to do it. So coming from a place of gratitude more in everything. So yeah.
I love hearing you say that, because I don't think we've always necessarily got into the nitty gritty of all the whys, because we all have our, trauma's trauma, and we can never say somebody's is more or less. But I know, for your experience, it was kind of and I remember saying this to you often, it's almost worse than a death, because you don't really get a full closure. And not that not that sometimes even death is necessarily a full closure, but you're just left absolutely, there's nothing you can do about it. There's literally, it's something that completely happened to you. And now you have to navigate how you're going to deal with this. And how many people, especially at that time in your life, could even really, yes, we've had friends that have had divorces and friends that have had losses and things, but that situation, and we knew him, we also knew your husband prior to even you guys dating too. So as much as people wanted to be there for you and love you, it truly is something that you went through with God. Yes, people were there loving on you, helping you, wanting to do anything for you, but it was you and God. It was, you guys were tag teaming your way through it. And there's the majority of people, I would say, in those situations wouldn't take what you were doing as their coping mechanism. It usually would be something like drugs, alcohol, overeating, the things that are very quick producing dopamine, but leave you very, very unsatisfied. Whereas exercise is actually is the opposite. It is going to give us the healthy amount, but can we do anything in excess? Yes. But here's another thing I always think of you too. When God allows something disastrous to happen, he always brings beauty out of it. And you are, like a female version almost of the Apostle Paul, because here he went through all these horrible things. I'm serious. But yet he was able to do so much for so many people, because he didn't have you know, spouse, kids, this, that, whatever, that yes, those are blessings too, but like God does say in the Bible, well, technically it's better if you didn't, but we know most of you guys can't get control of yourself. So, you know, and again, that, you know, I do, like, if you want to share about it, and you don't have to, but like, you have always been somebody that you're so cute, you're so beautiful, you're so, everyone loves you. Guys like, I mean, seriously, guys always like you.
They are like beating
They
my
are.
door down.
I know. It's like you literally have to stand there with a bat at the door because it's ridiculous. But it's not that, like, that could always be an option for you, but yet, you know, either God just hasn't brought the right one, or you've just chosen a different path. But do you think any of that affected how you view future relationships? Or do you think, I mean, for a time obviously it's going to, but do you feel now at 46, where we are now, that you're like, no, I really, this is God knows what he's doing? Like, where are you at right now? If you could be candid with the world, with all my followers.
Yeah. I think the foundation of it is, of course, God knows what he's doing.
Well, look who's on. Kristen Svensson.
Oh my gosh. We're talking really light things like divorce.
Don't worry, we're getting into the really fun stuff soon.
Oh my gosh. No, I think, like, as a foundation, obviously I completely trust that God is in control, and whatever is happening is wonderful, and I'm very blessed.
Yep.
That being said, I mean, I've been in some relationships since that, and you know, they haven't worked out. They have provided, you know, learnings and all of that and experiences, and I don't regret them. But I think, yeah, I would love that. I would love to find somebody to share life with. And I think it would be so great to tag team some of this stuff and just be able to just go and do life with somebody. Because I have a very supportive family and friend network. Don't get me wrong. I have an awesome community around me, but I do a lot of things. I'm very independent. Like, I can handle it. And I think, like you mentioned, God equips people with what they need to be able to make it, right? And be okay. And I sometimes think, you know, that God has really blessed me and given me what I need to make it. And I trust him, and I know that if I'm single when I'm 100 years old, like, that's okay, because I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. And marriage or a relationship is just such a blessing that I would love, but at the same time, I'm not gonna settle for something. Right. I'm not gonna have one to have one. I want a person to add to my life. I don't want to have to, you know, like, I don't need it. Right. You know what I mean? It's more of if I want it, and that's an awesome place to be in, and I'm very blessed to say that. But that being said, I do pray for somebody someday that it would, but I'm also very accepting of, like, oh, literally it's gonna be Mission Impossible, and that's cool. Like, I'm pretty like, yeah, right, this will never happen. Because I honestly,
after today, I'm sorry, Emily, but now you're just gonna have to, like, it's gonna, you're gonna have to just turn your phone off. It's gonna be nuts, but
I know. But anyway,
it's gonna be crazy.
No,
oh, Crystal's moving in when she's 100. Well, I won't be here. There's no way I'm making it that long. But you guys, you guys will have a great time at 100. Okay, well, so that's good to hear, and that's really encouraging for a lot of people, because, you know, you lost that part in your life way back in our late 20s. But there's also people that have lost stuff like their health, their ability to, you know, there's people that were ultra endurance athletes, or just, you know, professional athletes, or they put their identity in, you know, fitness or this or that, and then they had an accident, you know, like Autumn's husband, you know, from Autumn Petrosky Starnes, you know, losing both their legs and stuff. And so, like, I really see in you that God has given you a lot of health, which it absolutely blows my mind what you have physically accomplished, and that your little legs are still going. Like, but I feel like this is what God wants you doing. But at the same time, I feel like you've also come to that place now at this very mature age that we are living, that if anything were to happen at anything in your life, like, you wouldn't, your identity is not that anymore. You do it because you love it, and it's kind of your way of serving, but that's not your identity. And I think that's a good thing. Like, if you want to just touch on it quick, like if you could talk to a bunch of teenage high school girls or college girls about like where they're putting their identity these days, especially with all of social media and things, like what's one piece of advice you could give them in terms of, obviously for us it's our faith, but a lot of people don't have that. So like what advice would you give to, or a boy, teenage boy, college boy, girl, about not putting what, their looks, their grades, their whatever it is as their identity?
Yeah, I think like it's so easy to get caught up in your value being attached to outcomes of different things.
Mm-hmm.
So outcomes meaning how many likes you get, or how many text messages you get in a day, or what your grades look like, or did you win the race, or there's a whole host of things that can easily help define you, especially now in today's data age and things like that. And I think, if you think of, are you enough, right? Like, and if you base it off that, like I was mentioning before, because I've been through it, the goalpost always changes. It will be enough. And that will go all the way to old lady like me. Is your job title enough? Is your salary enough? No, I could make more. Is I need the bigger thing, best thing. And it's just like, how do you find contentment and being enough as a person and with your life, right? And I think really just focusing on that and just being thankful for what you do have, and that you are enough as a human being, not a human doing. And and that doesn't come like, oh, like you can't, at least I haven't been able to just think that and all of a sudden believe it, right? Like the connection between the head and the heart is such a thing. And you can think, well, I think a lot of things and don't feel them, and vice versa. So it's really daily saying that to yourself. And for me, it's also getting in the Bible and doing some of those things to really ground me. But like, you are enough just as you are. And like, there's nothing, 1,000 likes on something or a million fans on something else isn't going to change your value as a human being. Yeah. And just be kind to people and be nice to yourself. And like, that's like the most important thing, I think, because at the end, that's like that true contentment and peace doesn't come from anything outside of you. It could be for a little bit. It could be short term.
Sure.
It could be a minute. It's not long. That's not where we get our true contentment and peace, I don't think, from.
Sure.
And you learn that with time, and I've learned that, but it's kind of a daily awareness of it, because it's easy to get caught up in everything else so quickly. So it's kind of staying grounded and stay in your lane and stay kind of focused on that as much as you can throughout the day, every day. So
I think trying to find your peace and happiness before the other things is really crucial, because they talk about like professional athletes or like Olympians that their whole life they work towards this one goal, and then it's like the challenge, the road getting there is what really keeps them going. And then a lot of them, when they get that title, they get the gold medal, or a lot of them slip into like a depression because they don't know like what to do next. And I'm sure you've had a little bit of that too, because you do these races and we'd all be watching you and tracking you, and it's like, oh, she won, or and then
she didn't die.
And so, but yet you still like, then you learn to be like, all right, well, now I'm going to go try this, or now I'm going to go lead these veterans across whatever, Italy or whatever it was. Like, you didn't just find this one thing. Like, yeah, you tackled the Ironmans and I don't know, which I do want to say, like, okay, first of all, I want to say, out of all your races, which one then was your most like powerful to you, like most meaningful? Like maybe you crossed that finish line and you even just like wept, or you just, I don't know, like something cathartic, or just something very, I don't know, just like your most meaningful race.
Oh gosh,
or experience with what you like, the ride to recoveries and stuff.
Yeah, I'll answer that question, but I will say that meaningful to me with anything is the process to get there. And it's the day-to-day decisions you make and the day-to-day choices that I make, and like the investment into myself to be able to go do the thing, right? And that's where all the learning, that's where the discipline comes into play. That's where you realize motivation isn't enough. That's where you like really have to look deep inside to make sure it's something you want to do, and your actions will prove it. So I think for me, like just going through all of that is the best part, because that's where you learn everything. I learn a lot in a single race, but it's everything leading up to that point.
Sure.
I think for me, and maybe it's just because it's the most fresh, was last year when I went to Italy and went over the mountains for 5 days.
Right.
There was one mountain, it was near the end, so I was pretty tired and physically tired too, and mentally. And I was like sleepy and stuff, and it was snowing, and it was dark, and you have no context because it's dark. So you're on the top of a legit mountain, and it's snowing, and I couldn't see anything, and like those are scary. It's scary kind of on top of those because they're very technical too. So there's like sometimes you grab under ropes, and I just couldn't see anything. So finally I found this guy ahead of me. Oh, he's from France or something. I don't know. He kept screaming too, which was weird. And like, but it's so interesting because like there was so much like chaos around me, the snow, not knowing if there was a drop off. Like, I shouldn't say this. Hopefully my mom's not listening. But, like, I have no idea, and I had Christian music on. Like, that was the playlist that I had on at that time, because that was basically the whole time. And I had never been more at peace than I was at that moment. And it was because I was like just kind of praying and just being like, oh, this is gnarly, God. This is neat. and I felt so like, okay, it's fine. I still remember how at peace I felt, and just like excited to go forward. And like, you don't need, and it kind of reminded me too, like, when life gets chaotic and crazy, you don't need to see a mile ahead. You just need to see 6 feet in front of you where my headlight was going. And I could find the path, and I knew something was there to put my foot on. And so it's easy to kind of bring that to regular life too, when things get crazy. You're not sure what the next mile is, but you don't need to know that. You just need to know what's ahead of you in 6 feet or 1 foot, and that your foot will land on something, and it always will, right? So like that was probably the most, it just kind of helps you stay focused on what you're doing and just really live in the moment and not worry about all the other things. Stay focused on what you're doing and the step ahead of you. So that was cool.
I know it's kind of like exposure therapy in a way. Like, I hear that story and I'm like, you put yourself in these positions, like, you choose it, but yet you don't really know what it's going to be like till you're actually in it, and you finished them all. And it's like something like that would be kind of like, in the moment, it could be very terrifying. You're not only like dark, fatigued. I know some races I've talked to where you're like, this one night I like was laying there and I saw all these like VW bugs hanging from a tree.
I hallucinate all the time, and that could be a whole other podcast of all my hallucinations.
I know, that would be great. That'd be really good. But and then you're by yourself. You're in this foreign country where like most people are probably not going to be speaking your language. I mean, yes, there's always going to be your occasional or someone that speaks English, but like truly like very terrifying. But yet it exposes you to all these things, and then you get through it, and then you do it again, and you get through it, and I can see where that really starts to strengthen your faith, but also you're just doing life. Like, you know what? Yeah, something might happen, something really crappy might happen, but you know what? I'm gonna get through it because I've done, and however you are in life, I think that's really important for people to find something. It doesn't have to be this. There's, not everyone can physically even or choose to physically do that, but find something that really actually terrifies you and just go do it, because you're not going to grow if you don't. And honestly, there is no like safe space. It's either you grow or you fall backwards. Because these people that think if I just sit on the fence, then I'm safe, you actually are going backwards. Because you're letting life just pass you by, and you're missing all these opportunities to grow, and the world's changing around you, and you're just sitting there. And I mean, so I think it's so awesome that you've chosen these things. You've brought these things upon yourself. And then people are so inspired by that. So I want to ask you about the Sahara Desert race. I mean, we kind of talked about it, but that's like still one that I'm like, dang.
Okay. Maybe it's a little help. Yeah, that was
like, so tell us how many miles it was, what it was, all the like things you had to do.
Yeah, it was over in Africa. Is where the Sahara Desert is. It was,
for anyone who didn't know, we're also really good at geography.
Yeah. Oh, good. It was funny because how I initially got into that was I did my first ever multi-day race in Costa Rica, but it was supported, so it wasn't that hard. I mean, they gave you didn't have to carry all your stuff on your back. And I met this guy there. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but he was from Spain, And so I just always called him Barcelona because that's where he was from. And he had some Spanish name that I couldn't pronounce.
Right.
Anyway, he said at that race he told me about Marathon des Sables, which is the name. And he told me I couldn't do it because I was a girl. And so either one, he just wanted me to get over there, smart, or two, he was serious. Either way, I was going to go with number 2. So I went and I did it. And so Marathon des Sables, that's how I ended up going over there or even knowing about it. Getting there was great. I went by myself. I only knew Barcelona. And going to Africa is just a whole adventure just to get there. I don't even know how I made it there, honestly, but whatever. And yeah, it's a self-supported race. So I had to carry everything on my back that I would need for 6 days. And they gave us water, max 2 liters a day. So you had to really conserve your water. You couldn't just like throw it on you or whatever. And the Sahara is very hot during the day and cold at night. So it's very, I would be cold a lot at night, which is weird. And then just so hot during the day. Everything looked the same. It was beautiful, but it's sand I literally ran into a sand dune once, like with my face, because it all looks the same, like you can't.
Like a mirage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so wild. So yeah, I had to bring all my food. I had to ration everything out. So make it I had to have a 1,500 calories a day or 2,000 minimum. They check everything. So you'd require you had to bring, they have to remember, you have to like cook your food. They don't give you hot water. So you have to bring like a stove to cook it, like boil water, all the whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, you're just out, you go from point to point to point. And then the longest day was 55 miles, I think. That was like day 3 or 4. And that day, of course, there was a sandstorm.
Oh.
I've never had one of those before. That was interesting. I couldn't I was pretty, which was fun.
Was it like the song? Sandstorm, the song?
Probably, yeah, totally like that. I was out in front. It was cool.
Yeah.
But like, there's nobody around, and you follow these flags, and then they're like, I got to this checkpoint with the water, and they're like, the wind started picking up, and then all of a sudden I found this random dude out of nowhere from New York, and he had these goggles on because I couldn't see because all the sand was going in my eyeballs, and then all the things were falling over. So I literally just stared down at his calves for like the last 20 miles or so, and he stayed. And if he wouldn't have been there, I really don't know how. Because all the things, I don't know how he found the way. I was just hoping he knew where he was going. At least we were together, and we made it. And then we got there, we got back. All the tents fell over, and then I remember people. I was one of the first people, and all you really want to do is like have a pizza and take a shower, and like instead you're in this one tent with everybody that's finishing until they can put the tents up again. Lady's screaming because she's got a blister the size of the bottom of her foot, and they kicked her out of the race because they didn't medically. It wasn't like all these weird things you remembered. I was just laying in the fetal position, like, can we go ahead and I don't know it. And then we got to our tent, and then there was a scorpion in there. What? So,
I like Indiana Jones.
Oh my gosh. And then finally, I think I made my little meal, or maybe I didn't. I don't know, because everything's such a hassle. Everything just takes forever when you're doing that stuff.
Oh, I just can't.
Huh?
I just can't. I'm like, I think about how much like work it is just to go camping in Wisconsin at like a
it's so
like a place that has water and hookups. I'm like, oh. But that was, and we tracked you on that race. That was fun, because you could track it on the live. And but didn't you wasn't only like 2% female that did that race or something?
Yeah, usually the stuff I do, it's not a lot of women, so I got to represent.
And didn't you like do quite well, like coming in?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think I was 6th that one. I was 10. I was like second American, I think. I don't remember. It was like 100 years ago, I feel like.
That's crazy. And it's crazy like that I've told people like, because I like to brag about you, but like you will score get higher, faster times, whatever, than like a lot of professionals. But I remember you telling me once, but I don't want to race professional because then it becomes like a chore. Then it becomes a job.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you did finally end up going professional, but I know there was a long time when you were just like, no, I just want to do it,
Yeah, I don't need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
if he wants to sponsor me or send me money, like that's great. Like, feel free. I will wear your logo on me.
You have been sponsored quite a few times though, right?
If you can get me a camper van, that would be great.
What kind?
Camper van.
Oh, sure. Okay.
If you could work on that for for me, that'd be great.
I'm sure my followers will make that happen.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, okay, I know we're on the 45-minute mark here, and this is actually my secret to getting you, just to be able to talk. Just kidding. No, but no, this is fun. This is so fun because I just wanted to talk to you about this forever, and now I can do it and you can share it with the world because you are so incredibly motivating. So can you briefly talk about the Navy SEAL thing you did? That was what, 2 years ago? Yeah. How long was it? What was that?
Yeah, last summer.
That was okay. So tell us what that was, because that's pretty cool.
Oh, that was my favorite. Yeah. So a lot of times, I don't do it every race because I also don't want to exhaust people of all of their funds. But I really like to attach myself to help raise awareness for an organization or something to make it bigger than me, because what I do is pretty selfish, and I think it's a good opportunity to help others along the way, whether it's inspiration or just helping another organization. Anyway, as you know, I've worked with vets and had a soft spot in my heart for all military for a long time. I've never served, but I just feel like what they do for us and for our country is just amazing, and their families, what they sacrifice. And I wish I could do more. Yep. But I partnered in May to raise money for them when I did the Cocodona 250, which is a 250-mile race across Arizona. And we raised over $40,000 for them.
Wow.
And that really helps not only soldiers that are out in the field and, off on their secret missions because they're Navy SEALs and awesome, but families too that are left behind. And, because that in and of itself is a whole nother challenge for them. I mean, so, there's a lot of support that this foundation helps and supports them with. Yep. Anyway, and then during the race, super cool, I actually had 3 active Navy SEALs out there with me. So you can have crew and you can have others for this race after about 80 miles. Yeah. So I switched off with Navy SEAls, literally running by me. And I think my mom was probably the least worried for that race. But learning.
Yeah. Well,
learning from them and their experiences and adventures, and so it was cool. And then we had a mom too of a Navy SEAL also outpaced me, and she was super great. And so because it's a family thing too, everybody kind of sacrifices a little bit. So yeah, it was so special to spend those miles with those guys, and they were super cool, and we still keep in touch. And it was
awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
So when I was looking through all your photos, you went to was it San Francisco, and they awarded you with something? What was that?
Yeah, just for raising money. It was like a flipper, they gave me a flipper, like a square in the water when you're cool. It was so cool, and it was real heavy, and then it had a little engraved thing on it. Yeah, that was cool. And it was where I went was a fundraiser for them as well. Sure. And then we went to $1 billion row or $1 million row to some guy's house there that the event, and he was like a gazillionaire. Oh gosh, he had a whole city block of just his compound.
Oh, so it's kind of like a Playboy Mansion party.
Kind of. And I was married? Oh shoot, you are. Okay, cool. You have a brother. Just kidding. But that was super cool too. So yeah, that was a fundraiser for them that they invited me to come to, which was awesome.
I was just seeing that. I was like, oh, look at that. You're shaking their hands and they're presenting you with an award. And you've just done so much. I couldn't even keep up with all. I mean, I thought when you did way back, it was triathlon, whoa. And then you got into the Ironmans. It was whoa. And then you just don't think humanly, because before all of this, that was the biggest thing you could do. And now it's, 250 miles here, 150 here across the desert. And you're just sure. All right, let's do it. And
really nothing else to do.
Well, but yet again, you've been given that opportunity to continue to find these things, from starting out with just marathons, and then going up to duathlons, triathlons, whatever, and then switched it into this whole thing where $40,000 for the Navy SEAls, So I guess what I'm saying is finding how much purpose you can also be having and creating with passion.
Yeah.
And I think that so many people are well, what am I, especially college kids today, I think struggle a lot with, they don't know what to do. Yeah. It's kind of, it's I mean, we didn't really know what to do either, but I think it's way more now. There's so much information overload. It's overwhelming. AI is taking over a lot of jobs, things like that. But I mean, this entire time we've been talking, and I think everything you've driven in is like, find what you love, find what you're good at, and then make that your purpose, you know, and you completely have done that. And no matter what happens to you, the worst of the worst, you just keep going, just put the next foot forward. Okay, so we should probably end this pretty soon because I gotta go to basketball game and you have, I know, things to do, but
I'm just
what?
To do. I'm fine.
Stop it. Yes, you do. You're always okay. What would be, well, first of all, this is just a fun little question. What's your favorite pre-race food and your post-race food?
I love that you asked that.
I know. Food is fun.
Race for this alone. My favorite thing to eat before, and I only ever eat it, and everyone will tell you this, before a race, is pancakes. I don't eat pancakes any other time except for the day before a race. And I'll eat as many as I can. And it's the best. I love pancakes.
I love it.
After, it really depends where I am.
Yeah.
So places I don't have a lot of options. Others places I do. A lot of these races I eat so during the event. I'm not always excited to keep eeting.
Sure.
It's crazy. It takes me a little bit.
Yeah.
However, I love, what always tastes good is pizza, just something salty and warm.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Probably cold.
Ooh. Yeah.
So, no salad, no. I do like the long day, like when I was in Italy, when I do the more cocodona or whatever, it's like 4 days and I don't have a vegetable, so that's not. However, I still want pizza and I need a little break, and then I'll get back on then I need vegetables a little bit after that. But
well, let's be honest though, like vegetables, as healthy as they are for you with their nutrients and fiber, I can't really imagine lots of fiber being what you really want during these long races, just for the sake of like
the worst food ever, like sugar and candy and carbs. That's ingest for 4 days. So I brush a lot too, so don't worry.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you four tips and then we'll be done. So when it comes to health and wellness, training, activity, just everything health and wellness encompassing longevity, all of it, what would be your best tip for nutrition? Just for like the 40-plus-year-old woman who, isn't doing what you're necessarily doing, but they want to stay active. They want to build lean muscle. They want to, they don't want age to be the whole like, oh, well, crap, I'm just going to go downhill from here. Because obviously that's not true. Because obviously, look at you. But what would be your number one tip for that?
I would say what's worked well with me is, I'm a vegetarian, not that you have to be a vegetarian, but I really try to eat as clean as I can a lot of the time. And when I say clean, that means higher protein things, less processed food, more water. This is just simply nutrition. And breakfast is really important to me. So I try to eat heavier in the morning and then kind of taper off during the day. But I would say that's always true, especially if I'm training a lot. Then it's all about getting as much food in as I can, which isn't probably normal for most. But getting just right food in, but also allowing yourself space and time to have foods that you just want and crave. Like that's okay too, as long as you're not doing it all the time. So like, I think like the 80-20 rule is great. If you can eat awesome 80% of the times and things that make you feel good, and 20% of the time you have your little treats, like I think that I'm not all about all or nothing. I don't think that works very well. So I think listening to your body is important and what it needs and craves, and making sure if it's craving sugar all the time, maybe that's not really that's not probably the right craving to pay attention to. But yeah.
Okay. So what would be your number one tip for a woman 40 plus for fitness? Again, we're talking somebody who isn't necessarily like dead, no activity.
Yeah.
Because that would be a whole different thing. But like, you know, I was an athlete in high school. I did the stuff, and then things happen, and you know, maybe you get some like a lot of joint. You know, there's ladies our age that have a lot of joint pain. But you know, by not doing anything, we know that's not good for our joints. So what would be just there's so much out there. People are like the troughs.
Like the trough.
It was so random and it like got stuck in my lip gloss. Okay, anyway, I think from a lot of people, they almost just get so overwhelmed with the information that they're like, screw it, you know, and they don't do anything and they get almost bitter. But we're still human beings with the same bodies that God created us. So like, what would be, with all your experience, and this is your avenue, like what would be your number one fitness tip for them?
I would say strength training is super important. Just because we lose muscle mass, especially as we get older, and you know, it's just important to do. It's easy to lose quick, and it'll really help boost other things. And just being strong feels good, and being able to do the things. And then I would just say move your body. Like you don't have to go do a 5K, you don't have to go running, but can you fit in some extra steps? Park your car at the farthest spot from the door. You know, find little ways to just keep moving throughout the day and not sit. Like if I'm at my desk right now, I never sit down all day, and part of that is training to like I don't sit until the evening ever. So it's just like, can you stand more during the day if you work behind a desk, or fit in bouts of movement throughout the day? I think just simple things like that. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated.
Right.
But paying attention and fitting it in where you can. Just keep moving. Yeah.
I think the more I've read too, I realize like as a nation, like we, you know, getting into the work mode that so many of us are in. And I mean, this probably started seriously back in the 90s too, like get your fitness membership, but go to your office job, sit for 9 hours with maybe getting up at lunch and to go to the bathroom. And then they'll go to the gym and put their hour in. And they're actually saying like, okay, you still worked out. That's great. But all those hours you were sitting.
Yeah.
So like I've started putting a timer on my phone where every half an hour, if I am at a desk, which we did get a walking pad now and I try to stand more, the timer goes off and I get up and I do like 10 squats or just air squats because sitting is really so bad for us. And kids too, like kids sit so much more with like at school and gaming and their hip flexors. So yeah, I love that. I think just simple, like common sense stuff.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to have all the fancy. Okay. Just two more. Mental. What would be your number one mental tip? Mindset, mental.
Have a daily devotion. Never go a day without getting in the Bible. And I would say something I do is, well, I kind of have a prayer journal, but within that, the most important thing are just identifying things I'm thankful for that day. And that really just kind of reminds me of it's easy to focus on all the things you don't have or that you want or that you're missing out on or whatever. And those are great asks too. God loves those as well. But it's also great just to be thankful for what you have. So writing that down and then helps guide my day. And it just helps me mentally have clarity and calmness and just like remembering what's important to me and staying aligned with my values. And when I'm doing all those things, it mentally helps me stay in a good spot most of the time.
Sure. Yeah. And you know what? That answered my spiritual question then too, because you kind of answered two with one stone. And I think too, like, yeah, so much of what you do, you know, going to all these countries, running all these races, you probably meet so many different kinds of people, so many different like religions and like culture and stuff. And, you know, I mean, as a Christian, sometimes just in general, we can kind of feel like an island. And I know you've been doing that since college. You know, like I said, you walk the walk. Like you've been doing your devotion since college. You've been journaling and doing gratitude stuff since I've known you, and you're still doing it now. And I think like, again, when you do go overseas and you do these things where you maybe feel like, ooh, I'm really alone. You know, I mean, God's here, I'm not alone, but you're really in a different element. These are all these tools and exercises that you've been doing now for decades to keep you going. So, okay, Emily, this was fabulous.
Okay,
but we talked for almost
you're so good at interview. You should work for a news station.
Well, that's probably what's going to happen next.
You never know, but you're so great at this. Good job.
Well, I
Thank you
do like to blabber sometimes. What?
This is my first Facebook Live. So,
yeah, but you made CBS News.
What?
Remember? You had that CBS News article.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm kind of this. I mean, let's be real. Just kidding. No. Yeah.
Well, you are pretty incredible.
Huh?
You are incredible. And I
Oh,
love you. And I'm so glad that we're still friends over all these years.
I know. Go Bethany. Hi,
High amid the trees.
I miss the trees we stand still.
Yeah. I was going to bring up, for the sake of Sawyer, the funny thing that happened in college when, we
So many. Which one?
another time.
Okay. Well, freshman year or sophomore year?
New Ulm.
Oh, Johnny Home.
No, remember when your parents had to come up?
Yeah. Halloween. Yeah, that was fun.
And then you like texted me or you called me or I don't know what it was. You're like, oh my goodness, there's this guy and he has like a sheet wrapped around him.
His name was Solomon. I still remember his name, and they were yelling at him the whole time, like, Solomon. Oh my God.
It's just one of the most ironic things because it's like probably the only time and the healthiest person. And God's funny too. He does have a good sense of humor. We got a kick out of it. But okay, I love you. Thanks for sharing your time with me.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, later.
Bye.
Bye.